Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Modi with OddsJam, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna place some early bets for MLB tomorrow, June 21st. So I'm recording this Monday night on June 20th. So none of my pending bets have settled yet. So I don't have the data as far as how I think it's what, 6 bets? Yes, how my 6 bets went today, the 20th. I'm gonna go ahead and assume I went 6-0. Really awesome day, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, for this video, gonna bet some baseball. Nicely have had a good streak since Since the 15th of June, so the past 5-6 days or so. Up 343 in total profit, bringing my publicly tracked bets on baseball up to 120 in profit with a measly ROI of $1.29. Hoping to increase that. I actually am pretty excited. I talked with a really smart guy on Twitter who's an OddsJam power user who has had a lot of success betting on baseball. And I actually got a strategy from him that I'm going to detail in just a couple seconds. His name is Data Driven Sports on Twitter. I would 100% recommend checking him out. Data Driven Sports on Twitter. While you're there on Twitter, go ahead and give me a follow. Again, my name is Matt Modi. I'm a content producer and betting analyst for OddsJam. And on Twitter, you can find me at the really cool name of Modi_sports. It's just my first name underscore my last name. Pretty boring, but it is what it is. But I'm sorely needed of a new betting strategy, specifically with baseball. So my ROI up until this moment right here, and this was majority baseball, was at about 8%, and my total profit was at about 12.5K. So I've essentially lost $2,000 over the course of, this is a 5-week span, all because of baseball. My net actual loss with baseball is $3K, so I would be up almost $13,000, almost 14, if I hadn't even touched baseball at all. So the public bets are okay. 1.3% ROI. I do a little bit more research into these, which is why they're a little bit better. But clearly in need of a baseball strategy. So I'm glad I talked to Data Driven Sports, who gave me a strategy, which I will detail right now. So you can take a screenshot of this, you can copy it, do whatever you need to do. But this is the strategy that I will be testing out moving forward. And I'm going to go ahead and mark it here. I'm going to just highlight this gray so I know that this is the start of a new strategy. So new strategy, so that way there's no forgetting. Anyways, and this is what it is right here. So the markets that I'm going to be betting on are the first half total, player bases, player hits allowed, player strikeouts, and total runs. So this means I'm not touching money line, I'm not touching run line, and I'm not touching yes or no run first inning because those bets have not shown any profitability. My parameters for game props is EV 3% and above and market width of 25 cents and below. I will detail all this on the OddsJam Positive EV page. My player props parameter, which are the bases, hits allowed, and strikeouts, will be 4% EV and above. And we'll be willing to accept anything 35 cents in market width and below. Regarding my wager size, I'm going to do the Kelly criterion method. I'm going to have this set at 1, so I am going to break one of my rules of not betting anything above 5% of my bankroll on one individual bet, depending on what the calculator tells me, because I want to follow this strategy and see how it goes. I'll also give the units before I place the bet, so whatever your bankroll is, you'll know what it is. And my bankroll specifically is 2.5K, so that's where all this information comes from. So again, I know that was a lot, so pause it, screenshot it, take a note yourself, do whatever you need to do. But this is my new baseball strategy moving forward, and of course, got to give a shout out. Thank you, Data Driven Sports, for walking me through this. So sorry about that, a little bit of a longer preamble. I have a new strategy. I'm excited to test it out. I did not enjoy losing 3K betting on baseball. I actually had a really rough, if you want to just talk about a rough go of it. So I placed a bunch of bets kind of as I was moving just on my phone. Terrible luck. So yeah, this was a Friday when I placed this, but starting here on Saturday all the way up, I won one bet and I lost like 12 or 14 or 20. I lost a lot. So that new strategy will be sorely needed for someone like me who I've yet to figure out baseball. And just thinking about it logically, it makes sense. The bets that the strategies I was using football and basketball might not necessarily make sense with baseball. As you can see, pretty profitable with basketball and football. Hockey not so much, but I also didn't do a ton. But the strategies that I use in basketball and football, they don't work in baseball, and that's okay. Not every sport should be treated the exact same. So, anyways, now I will get to it. Again, I apologize for the 5.5 minute long start for. People that are watching this, I guess you can fast forward it to this point, but you wouldn't have known until now. So it is what it is. Anyways, so to note the couple things that I talked about. So this percent here, this is the expected value percent. This is essentially, you can view it as your profit margin percent. This is where I'm going to go ahead and look at stuff 3% and above. So anything, and this is specifically for baseball. This only applies to baseball. Other sports are still fine to look lower. But for baseball, we're looking at anything 3% and above. So that's what this is. This is essentially, like I said, you can be viewed as your profit margin. And then market width is here. Market width is essentially a way to just determine confidence in what the OddsJam lines are being priced at. That's why we have the parameters at 25 and below for game props and 35 and below for player props, because we only want to place bets on market widths that are pretty tight, and anything in that range, under those ranges, is pretty tight, which is where that comes from. So as I'm scrolling through the page, this one right here is not a play because it's played tonight on Monday, but these first two are. And this is an interesting scenario where we're taking the game over, but the first half total runs under. This is a situation that I am comfortable doing myself. And just to look at the first play, to talk through it, the odds would be for the Mariners Athletics under 3.5 first half total runs. So FanDuel, which is the book that we'd be betting this at, has this priced at plus 134. The OddsJam line prices this at plus 111. And these lines are pulled from the sharpest sportsbook in the world. That's kind of why they're viewed as determining the positive expected value, because it's pulled from the most accurate bookmaker in the world, the sharpest betting market, the tightest betting market, the most efficient betting market, any adjective you want to describe for the OddsJam line. And then the no vig odds is just what they price the lines at, what they price the odds at, with the vig removed. The vig is essentially the juice that sportsbooks price up odds themselves. It's how they make their money. So removing the vig gives you a true determination of what a market is priced at. So for this one specifically, I also like to look into the markets themselves to see what all the other books are pricing it at, kind of just determining whether we're getting a true discrepancy or not. As we can see, this one has pretty high EV of 7.12%. That's pretty good, especially for a game prop. But bets that we're able to get in, and it looks like the odds have unfortunately changed. So I'm guessing, yep, that one went away. So, yep, just like I thought, that one went away. But here's the next one, actually even higher EV percent, which is awesome, and it's still legit. So this play is the over for that same game. So I'm guessing the odds, FanDuel changed their odds, or Pinnacle changed their odds. Something happened. That's no longer a play. This one is the over 8.5 runs in the Athletics versus Mariners game, plus 154 odds on FanDuel. So a couple things to note here. As we can see, there's two different EVs and plays for the same exact play, total runs on each one. So there's two different thoughts for this one. My train of thought is I just take the one with the tightest market, which is this first one here, which also has the highest EV percent. There's also a train of thought that some other people have that say, you know what, if it's positive EV, I'm going to take every one. So I'm going to put almost 7% of my bankroll on this one. I'm going to put 6.5% of my bankroll on this one. And if they both hit, I'm sitting pretty. For me, I don't like to have that much exposure on one specific play. So I'm just going to take this first one, but pretty insane value here. So the OddsJam line prices this at plus 123 with the vig removed, priced at essentially plus 130. And we're getting it all the way up at plus 154 on FanDuel, all the way up at plus 154, which is insane value. That makes a profit margin of 10.5%, which is crazy. So again, looking into the markets, which is something that I love doing, it's priced at plus 154. So again, I couldn't get that one in. The odds changed. So it looks like I am taking this one, the over 7 runs. Hopefully, finally, the odds won't shift against me. Minus 120 on FanDuel. The no vig odds have it at essentially minus 135. So that gap between minus 135 and minus 120 is what has positive expected value. Profit margin of roughly 5.3%. And according to my calculator, this is roughly a $160 bet for me, or about 6.5. We'll call it a 6-unit play. Pretty big, but again, I'm trusting the calculator on this one, and I am committing the cardinal sin of not betting 5% of your bankroll on one bet, because I do want to give this a legitimate shot, this strategy, a legitimate shot that has worked, and the proof of it's worked with data-driven sports. So this is going to be my first play, the Oakland Athletics versus Seattle Mariners over 7 runs. And just looking at the value here, I mean, it's insane. The OddsJam line, like I said, prices that at minus 145. Every other book actually prices it below this amount. Least favorable odds, more unfavorable odds, however you want to call it. DraftKings, minus 155. Caesars, minus 165. BetMGM, minus 155. So this one at FanDuel at minus 120 is pretty awesome. It's going to be the first bet that I am adding to my plays. Fortunately, I'm still not in a legal betting state, so I am unable to actually lock this bet in myself. But this is going to be tracked, as you can tell here. It's going to be my first play. And then what I also started doing yesterday is, and this was a $160 play. That's right, 160. Oof, that's a lot. One thing I started doing yesterday specifically was tracking my actual expected value and my expected value percent, or my percent in my expected profit. Using the OddsJam line in the OddsJam profit margin percent, you can actually calculate what your profit margin is, and you'll be surprised to see that over time your expected profit will start to equal your net expected profit. So the odds on this one are minus 120. So the EV percent, the way you calculate it, it's very easy. It's the EV percent, which is 5.3. And I ended up putting a roughly 6-unit play. And all you need to do is just multiply your amount, your stake, your risk, multiply that by the percent of the expected value, and you can actually get your net expected profit margin over time, which in this case is roughly $8.50. So obviously way higher than the previous ones, but I also put way more money on it, and the EV percentage was way higher than those as well. So this is, anyways, sorry, that was a long-winded way of giving you my first bet. Sorry, there's a lot of lines changed, unfortunately, but it was the Athletics Mariners over. And the play was 7 runs at minus 120 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook as my first official play. So the next one that I'm going to look at, as I'm going to refresh this, so these 2 plays are for tonight, so I'm going to avoid them. And it looks like we're looking at the Marlins versus Rockies. And it looks like there are 3 plays left, so I'll blow through these pretty quickly. You already understand the math behind it, as I showed you. I don't want to make this a 45-minute long video. But the first play is going to be the Marlins-Rockies. First half total under 3.5 on FanDuel. Plus 142 odds is what we're betting it at. The VIG, with the VIG removed, priced at plus 131, gives us a still pretty good profit margin of 4.83%, only 19 cents in market width. So everything looks good there. And if we look at this in a new tab, again, we see the value here. The only other line that has books, or a book that has lines for this, is MGM at plus 120. Insane value getting this on FanDuel at plus 142. So let's add it to the sheet. It was Marlins, Rockies, under first half total. And I'm just going to put in, so this, looking at my calculator, is roughly about 3.5 unit play for me, $85. So it's $85. And then the profit margin was 4.83%, 4.83, which gives me an expected profit for this one of roughly $4.11. So with 2 bets, that's already an expected profit margin of roughly $12.60. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, which I understand, but over time you will see your profits just compound upon each other, and that's kind of the name of the game. So this is going to be my second bet, Marlins Rockies under first half total on FanDuel. Next up, and let me refresh this, make sure the odds don't change on me again, is the same game. It looks like we're taking the game total to go under. In this case, we are going under 7 runs at plus 160 with this one on DraftKings. So again, market width is within range at 19 cents. EV is at 4.71%, which is well within range. The OddsJam line has this priced at plus 141, with the vig removed priced at plus 148. So still good value there. And if we look at the calculator, this is roughly a 3-unit play for me. So I'm going to put 75 bucks on it. DraftKings at plus 160 odds. And if we look into the markets just to see what everything looks like, under 7 runs, same exact logic of the other ones. OddsJam has it at plus 141. BetMGM and Caesars actually has it for least favorable odds, again, at plus 135 each way. So pretty good value here. So it's literally the same exact thing. Marlins, Rockies, under this is going to be the total. This was a 3-unit play for me, and the expected profit margin on this one was 4.71%, 4.71. So my expected dollar amount of profit on this one, 3.53, and this is my third play for tomorrow. Now, one more, I believe, last one looks like it's the Angels versus Royals for another first half under. Oop, just kidding, we're not taking this one. The market width is 28 cents, so we're done. Those are going to be my 3 bets. Again, Mariners, Rockies, over 7 runs on FanDuel, and then it's the Marlins. It's the Athletics Mariners, sorry. And then it's the Marlins Rockies taking the first half total under, taking the game total under, as you saw. So my expected profit margin for these 3 bets are roughly $16. So over time, we will see my net expected profit start to equal my net profit, subtracting about 120 bucks when I started. And those are going to be all my bets. So I apologize for the longer video. Again, I'm testing out a new strategy, which is why this is all highlighted. And we'll see how it goes. We're just going to test it out. This is the whole point of sports betting, is to test out a new strategy. But that's all I got for you. So if you're tailing, love to hear it. Let me know. Comment on the video. Like the video. Subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel. And that is all I got for you. So thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.